Good evening and welcome to Overtime. The president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise, I hope I'm getting that reasonably close to correct, has been assassinated. He was assassinated earlier this morning when gunmen entered his house. Ostensibly, the initial reports are that the gunmen identified themselves as DEA agents, and originally it was reported that, in fact, they were DEA agents. The United States has denied that they were agents of the United States, and the interim president is saying that he believes they were not, that in fact they were mercenaries posing as DEA agents. At any rate, it appears that a number of men speaking Spanish came in, identified themselves as DEA agents, and assassinated the president of Haiti. His wife has been injured. We don't know her condition yet. At first, it was reported that she was also killed. At present, it appears that she is in fact alive, although we do not know her condition. The president was controversial, and well, despite the fact that he was controversial, most Haitians are upset at the assassination. Nobody likes it in general when their leader is assassinated, even the controversial ones. The far right had argued that he was actually no longer president. Now, he was to serve a 7-year term. According to him, that term will end next year. According to the opposition party, he actually already passed the end of that term because the term started not when he entered office, but when he was elected. That is their interpretation of the Constitution. That interpretation has been denied by him and his party, so they believed that he had a right to remain in power. At any rate, he would have been out next year, but he has now been assassinated. Again, the party on the right believes that he was, in fact, no longer president, and the party on the left said that he had the remainder of his term to fill out. At any rate, the vice president has now assumed office. I don't know that this is necessarily going to have any significant impact on the U.S. per se, but it's always, I think, relevant when a international leader is assassinated, or let me rephrase that, the leader of another country is assassinated. So we'll cover a little bit more on that in a minute. We also have something else that came in just as we were starting to do that, which is Japan has declared a state of emergency in Tokyo over the COVID crisis. They have not been as effective as a number of other countries in dealing with it. Roughly a quarter of their people are vaccinated. They have said that at all costs, they will have the Olympics in Tokyo at all costs, and have rejected any discussion that there was even a possibility that the Olympics could be put off, even when the International Olympic Committee requested that they put off the Olympics. Excuse me. So at this point, they have invested over $10 billion into the Olympics. $3 billion of that was put into building new facilities. Most of those facilities, no matter what happens at this point, are going to go largely unused. At this point, it is argued by most people, including doctors, including residents of Japan, 70% of whom do not want the Olympics there at this point. The argument now from the International Olympic Committee and most of the the leadership in Japan appears to be that they have to ban all spectators. They have currently banned international spectators. If you go there to watch and you're from another country, you will be unable to watch the Olympics live. They're now talking about banning every spectator. So they have these huge facilities, most of which will go unused. If they do that, it will be a loss of another $1 billion in addition to the loss they've already suffered from saying that international spectators will not be able to come, and from limiting the number of people who could come into the country to watch it in the first place. So the athletes have already begun arriving, and it is expected that there will be a decision on the Olympics sometime tomorrow. So, hey, Randy, good to see you. No, nobody's taken any credit for it. Again, right now, the belief is that they are mercenaries. They posed as DEA agents, got into the house, and assassinated the president and injured his wife severely. We don't know the extent. Initially, it was reported that she had died, but right now we are quite certain that she is in fact alive, or at least was as of the last information that we got. So that's about it. Again, he was controversial, and a number of people felt that he should step down. They felt that the president was not moving the country in the right direction. There was a dramatic increase in violence, crime in Haiti, and the president was blamed. Also, there were a number of people who believed that his term had already expired, arguing that his term started when he was elected, not when he took office. He and his party argued that his term started the moment he was sworn in. And if that's true, he still had a number of months left out to serve and would have left later next year, early next year. Well, again, many people felt that he already should have left and his term was up. So I think the other thing was he was blamed for the country not recovering from the 2010 earthquake. The 2010 earthquake was devastating, and there was actually a tremendous amount of international aid. And the argument was, now he was not in office at the time. He would have assumed office a couple of years after, but the argument was that he failed to properly utilize that aid and international support, and that the country had not properly recovered from the earthquake. So again, President Jovenel Moise of Haiti has been assassinated. His wife has been injured. She's in the hospital. Her condition is unknown. It was reported that she had died. Those reports were inaccurate. But we don't know. We don't know if she's in critical condition or if she's, I don't think it was the Girl Scouts. I'm going to go out on a limb there and suggest that. Thank you, Porpoise. Helpful as always. No. I am gonna go out on a limb. I know we always get shit when we speculate on this show, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it probably was not the Girl Scouts. That's just me. So, Porpoise. Wow. Okay. Sorry, it's a serious thing, but a little humor, I think, sometimes is necessary. Anyways, the U.S. has condemned the attacks and is urging Haiti to find and prosecute the killers. At this moment, again, all we know about them is that they were posing as DEA agents and speaking in Spanish. That is literally all that is known, and that they were not Girl Scouts. We are really quite sure that they were not Girl Scouts. That is not a badge that is available to the best of my, international, unless I have been grossly misled about that organization. I'm aware some people have issues with the Boy Scouts. The Girl Scouts, I'm just going to, no. At any rate, so on top of the assassination, we have that Japan is, looks like they are going to, at this point, I think we're going to predict that Japan will cancel all spectators to the Olympics. They've already canceled international spectators, but they have now declared a state of emergency earlier today, just not that long ago. They have already lost a tremendous amount. They invested more than $10 billion into having the Olympics, including $3 billion into new facilities, 8 new venues that they had built just for the Olympics and to support all of the spectators that normally come with it. But it looks like at this point, I think it's quite likely that they will. Yeah, hold on a sec. Okay, it looks like I'm trying to figure out. Okay, there's a claim here that it would actually be $1 trillion loss, total economic loss for Japan. If you tie, with all the losses they've had, if you tie in the loss of not having any spectators whatsoever for the Olympics, that's going to be over $1 trillion loss for Japan. I'm not sure about that source. I know they've already lost 10 billion. So we'll see. At any rate, they don't want to do it, but I suspect that by this time tomorrow they're going to declare it, and they're going to cancel all spectators. They will make a decision ostensibly by tomorrow, but at this point now they still have a state of emergency in Okinawa, and they've now added Tokyo. About a quarter of their population is vaccinated. That's not enough. You know, the U.S. has actually now really kind of caught up in terms of vaccinations, and you know, we're sort of only barely starting to really reopen in a meaningful way. We're just experiencing that, having that many people come into the country. Oh dear Lord. So we'll see. It looks like, too, the other thing is they've lost now over 10,000 volunteers, unpaid volunteers. That represents about 20% of their volunteer workforce has also pulled out and says they are refusing to work on the Olympics, and they think that the Olympics should be canceled. So we'll see, but state of emergency declared in Tokyo, and the president of Haiti has been assassinated. So I'm going to quickly look over the live chat and see if there's anything that we need to add or amend. And then I'm going to just do one more quick rundown on it. It's actually not, it's still new enough that I don't think we have much more information on it. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to take a stand there. It really was not the Girl Scouts, and I'll thank you to not belie that organization. You know, with unfounded accusations. I'm really quite sure it was not the Girl Scouts. So. Well, I mean, the problem is I don't know what you can't actually postpone the Olympics, I forget the mechanics of that. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but the problem is if they try to postpone the Olympics, it's the same thing as canceling, and then they have to, since the Olympics for the next however many years have already been given away. It means they're not going to get the Olympics again for quite some time. So they have been absolutely adamant in their refusal. It's just like no set of circumstances will cancel the Olympics. So they're going to go forward with it. But at this point, again, I think the chances are exceedingly high that there will be absolutely no spectators live watching the Olympics, which is fine. A lot of people watch at home. I'm not sure if that's going to affect you and I particularly all that much. I think it will have, obviously, an impact on the people who would have gone to see it, and more importantly to Japan, a profound impact on their economy because they're not selling concessions, they're not selling it's a huge blow. Is Titan going to complain? No es importante que Titan piense. Nosotros podemos hablar en español si quieres. Podemos hablar sobre Titan si quieres también. Yo sé mucho sobre Titan que quiero hablar, pero porque yo pienso que él sabe gente que puede hablar español. Por eso yo pienso que bastante si quieres. So why isn't it the Girl Scouts? I'm not going to get into that. Oh God, it's been a long time since I've legit tried to speak. My brain just isn't where it should be over these few days. I'm pleased I was able to remember any Spanish, to be quite honest. So that's it. So let's do a very quick rundown, and then I think we're done. And so the Olympics are actually supposed to start, I think, on the 26th of this month. So by that point, we will see. Yeah. All right. So let's see where we are. Starting with the assassination of the president of Haiti, President Jovenel Moise was assassinated earlier today when gunmen posing as DEA agents went into his home. They killed him, and his wife her status is unknown, but she was purported dead, and she's in the hospital, but to the best of our understanding at this moment, she is currently alive. we have no idea if that's expected to change. We know nothing else. The vice president has already assumed the presidency, and he is urging calm. This has, despite the fact that the current president was disliked. A number of people are very upset at his sudden assassination. He was set to step down from office early next year. However, the Conservative Party, the party on the right in opposition to him, was arguing emphatically that he in fact was no longer president, that his term of 7 years, which both sides agreed to, actually expired earlier this year on the grounds that it started not when he took office, but according to the Constitution, or at least their interpretation of the Constitution, started when he was elected. On the day he actually won the office, even though he hadn't started yet. On those grounds, he should already be out of office. It's contentious. He was going to be gone anyway, but he has since been assassinated. Right now, they believe it's mercenaries. That's really all we know. Meanwhile, also today, Japan has declared a state of emergency in Tokyo, and they are trying to determine whether or not they're going to allow spectators at the Tokyo Olympics. I think, judging on how much pressure there is right now to say that they shouldn't, in fact, 70% of the population of Japan don't even want the Olympics there under this set of circumstances. They've already barred foreign spectators at the Olympics. It looks like now they're going to be forced probably to bar all of them. They're going to make a decision on that early tomorrow, well, sometime tomorrow. But at this point, I'm going to say I think they're going to have to bar all of them. This is going to be a catastrophic economic loss. In fact, many countries actually lose money on the Olympics. By the time they've built the facilities or updated the facilities, by the time they've paid for everything, security, absolutely everything, 4 out of 5 countries that host the Olympics actually lose money. The cities lose money, the countries lose money. Cities still try to host the Olympics, but so far very few have been able to make it work economically. So that's when they're actually getting people who are spectating. No spectators. This is going to be very big. So at any rate, we'll see what happens. They've lost a number of their volunteer workforce who are now refusing to come in, saying that they will not support the Olympics and don't want to be there during the crisis. They have vaccinated only about a quarter of their population. They've been unfortunately slow on the vaccination, and it looks like been trying to juggle a few too many things between the vaccination and keeping the Olympics at all costs. Yeah, well, you can find someone who speaks it well, and then I'm screwed. So, yeah, all right. So I think that's about it. If there's anything else urgent, we'll go live with it. But at this point, I don't expect, I don't think there's no suggestion that this was a coup in Haiti. Obviously, the assassination of the president, the first thing you'd think of is that it was a coup. But since the person who replaced him is of the same party, it seems reasonably unlikely. It happened before, but I think that there's going to be some instability in Haiti right now, and they've already seen an uptick in violence. But it looks like the vice president, who is now president of Haiti, is attempting to sort of get all that together. Now, he is still also going to be out